This is the parking lot for the Brooklands Motor Museum in Weybridge. I had no idea there was this great big complex back here. Over here we have Mercedes Benz World, which is this huge, glass and concrete affair. Literally hundreds of cars all over the place. It's sort of Mercedes' answer to Ferrari World, I think, in Abu Dhabi. And it looks like there's some test facilities here. That looks like a skid pad right there. And there's also the Brooklands Hotel over here. Again, brand new structure, huge. And there's a test track facility here. So there she is, the real deal Concorde. They sell tickets for £5 for a tour of the plane, which I'm going to take in about 20 minutes. The world's largest flying fuel tank. I never got the chance to fly on it, but Dad did. This is the nose gear. Very similar in design to the SST nose gear, the supersonic transport gear. That and the nose gear was designed largely by Uncle Don Schenbeckler, Gary's dad, my father's brother, when he was working at Bendix Corporation. Obviously British Airways did their own version of it, but it's substantially the same. Really interesting design for the brake shoes on a Concorde. Never seen anything quite like it.
No, you do sound cool.
This is sort of a central area of the Brooklands Museum. Everywhere you turn, there are cars and aircraft being worked on. This whole complex during and after the war was an aircraft manufacturing plant. Concorde was built here. Some of them, the British Concordes, something like 60% of the infrastructure of the Concorde was built here. And of course there were, because it was a collaboration between British Airways and French, some Concordes were built in France. But there was a total production of about 20. The first thing you figure out about Brooklands is that there's no place like it. It's not just that all the cars are authentic and all the planes are authentic, it's just the place itself is authentic. All the context is authentic. It's the real deal everywhere. There are just so many old signs and old engines and old uniforms. It just boggles the imagination. This is just a small sampling of Formula One cars on display at Brooklands here. It just goes on and on and on. And most of these are the only surviving examples. This is a 1979 Walter Wolf Formula One car. I saw this car run at Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix, 1979. You want to talk about a tire? Now that's a tire. It's about 20 inches wide. It's as wide as it is tall. This is John Surtees' Lola 270 Mark II that he campaigned, and he is actually here today at Mercedes Benz World pounding it around the circuit. This is as close as you get to motorcycle royalty. So this is the inside of Mercedes World. Quite impressive. Gonna go have a look at the Formula One car hanging from the ceiling. This is pretty cool. What would happen if you took a Formula One car, completely disassembled it, and took all the pieces and just suspended them in midair with string? This is what you end up with. Pretty amazing. $3,200 parts, all suspended from the ceiling, right down to every last nut, bolt, and washer. (2014) Mercedes Benz Formula One car. Mika Hakkinen's 2009 Formula One car. Mercedes, McLaren. There's quite a collection of Mercedes powered Formula One cars here. That's 2007 McLaren Mercedes. This is a 2009 Force India, powered by Mercedes. And the 2010 Mercedes. I guess when I think of Brooklands, I think of this car. It's a 24-liter Napier Railton that was built for John Cobb. He drove it to several records around the old Brooklands track, and it was the record holder for many years. 24 liters. That's a big engine. This is just part of the motorcycle collection here at Brooklands. This is the first of the Morgan three-wheelers with a Jap engine in it, dated 1928. It was a record holder, held with something like 37 records around Brooklyn, and the driver got in this thing, set a new record at one point. It did over 100 miles an hour on the banking at Brooklands. Given that I don't think I want to go 100 miles an hour in this thing. So this is it. This is the last of the old Brooklands circuit. The high banking, It's very rough at this point in its life, but it wraps around into the hills. This is quite remarkable, really. The London Bus Museum within Brooklands, complete with fiberglass horses, and there are a few birds nesting in here as well. I've seen a few of them go by, but this building just goes on and on and on. Nothing but London buses. This old bus is another one of those cases of a bus being found derelict in the field someplace by someone who just happened to see it out of the corner of his eye, and turns out he was a retired mechanic that worked on this bus, towed it out of the thistle, took it home, and spent 10 years and God knows how many hours restoring it. So this is one of the very last of the old hangars at Brooklands, still standing, probably the last original one, and it's being replaced by this brand spanking new one right here. And up here, another section of the track. This is a Hurricane Mark II under construction with the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine right there. Wellington under construction. I think the propeller will need a little bit of work. Aircraft under reconstruction everywhere. There's a Harrier.